If you're using Langflow to create AI agents and workflows, then I have a gift for you. Now, here's the thing. According to the NIST, there is a vulnerability, a critical vulnerability in language flow. Now, I know this description sounds overwhelming, but here is the gist. Language flow allows you to create workflows and AI agents just by using drag and drop visual graph. So what you have to do is to choose the model from here and put your API key, select a temperature, and you'll be able to create any workflow or an AI agent, right? Under the hood, there is a Python code working basically to get your flow or AI agent up and running. It is basically public. Anyone can do this without authentication. You can choose to download the application or you can choose to do it online, okay? Now, here's the thing. Since it is public, anyone can basically create a workflow, and therefore an attacker can basically create a workflow. And because of this weakness, the attacker can embed or execute any Python code basically they want, which means now attackers, they have the ability to execute RCE on the host server. Now, this means for the end user like us who use basically language flow, it means that attackers can basically steal API keys, our API keys, database files, just by executing random Python code when creating a public workflow. Let's address the weakness. Before I address the weakness, it's worth mentioning that up until now, there is no patch. If I'm wrong, correct me. You can correct me in the comments. However, there is no patch as far as I read, and it is affecting all versions up to 1.8.1, okay, of language flow. Now, when diving into the details, as I said earlier, it's basically because of the functionality of creating public flows, right? Now, usually public flows can be created by sending a post request to this API, okay? /API v1 public build temp, and then here the flow ID and the flow. So when you create a public workflow, okay, you basically send a post request to this endpoint. Now what happens, an attacker basically can manipulate or add an optional parameter. The parameter name is data. When adding this parameter, data, the attacker can basically execute any arbitrary code or pass any arbitrary code, the Python code, into the function called exec without any sandboxing. That's the root cause of the problem. And the thing is, there is no user interaction allowed. So as you can see, the problem is that anyone can basically create a public workflow, right? And append the data parameter. Anyone can do it, right? Including you, who's watching. So by doing this, anyone can basically pass an executable code to the exec function. The executable code is again written in Python because that's how the platform works, okay? So there are two weaknesses here. First one is the lack of authorization. Okay, anyone can basically append the data parameter, and the lack of input filtering when the data is sent to the exec function or the code is sent to exec function. So the solution is simple. Either restrict the use of data parameter or allow or implement a input filtering mechanism where the code sent, even if the code is sent using the data parameter, it will basically be passed to an input filter function and then passed to the exec after it has been basically inspected for malicious code. According to this GitHub repository, the affected code exactly lives in this file, source backend base language flow API version 1 chat.py. That's where the vulnerable endpoint lives or resides, okay? Specifically lines 580, 657. So here's the full vulnerable code. That's basically on the host server, the language flow hosting server. As you can see here, the data equal to data, okay? That's where the attacker can append a malicious Python code. So by replacing data with their malicious Python code, they can extract your API keys, database files, any files that belong to the users who are actively using the platforms or the platform. If I get back here, this is the same example we saw earlier in the GitHub repository, the vulnerable code in chat.py. Now, a secure version of this code is to get the identity of the user, right? Preventing unknown users from sending or creating flows and executing code through the data parameter. How they do that is through the get current active user. So an implementation of this can be done like this. You basically create a dependency current active user. This allows the server to verify the identity of the user who is creating the workflow, right? Not any user, only authorized user. Signed users with valid API keys can basically create a workflow. So current active user here is critical, and that's the lack of this dependency is the reason why an attacker can basically append the data here and be anonymous all through the process. Now, the other weakness is when the data is passed, basically it's not filtered. And here we get to validate.py. Now, after the flow is built, it's now passed to the graph building process. Now, through the validate.py, okay, the code that's sent by the user to create a public workflow is basically executed through the exec function, through the validate.py, the Python file. Now, here's the thing. The code is passed to exec unfiltered. The data here, okay, it's basically passed then to the exec function without any input validation, which means the attacker can basically run OS.system, get ID to retrieve the ID of the, the server, right? In these cases, the attacker basically would aim to, besides running RCE, they would aim to steal users' API keys, because the platform has a lot of user-related files where users basically need these data to integrate their API models with the agent. So with the exec here executing whatever data is passed to it, this vulnerability here becomes fully fledged RCE. If we summarize the process of exploiting the vulnerability, it basically goes through 10 steps. It starts with the attacker sending the post request to the vulnerable endpoint that lives in chat.py. Okay. Through this post request, as we said earlier, the attacker basically passes the data parameter. That parameter contains the malicious code. Okay. And then the data parameter is not sanitized. It allows for the creation of the graph without any validation. So it happens all through these steps until it basically passes to the exec function with no input sanitization. Now, a proof of concept requires you to go through three-step process. The first process is you have to use curl. Okay. Now, since the platform allows for anonymous or unauthorized or public declaration of public flows, the first step is basically simple. All you have to do is to send a curl request, okay, to the endpoint and obtain an access token. That's basically a typical, an example URL. So curl-s, that's the link, or that's the link to the API. And make sure to send the request to the auto login API, because in Langflow, the auto login is basically by default it equals to true, which means anyone can create or obtain access tokens. So once you send the request to auto login, you basically allow or you obtain basically an access token. After obtaining the access token, all you have to do is to now send another curl or post request to create a public flow. The public flow request should be sent to this API. That's the API responsible for creating public flows. So if you scroll down again, you can see here we create a curl request and send it as a post request to the endpoint that is responsible for creating public flows. Of course, we attach the access token using the -h, and then that's basically the request parameters. Okay, and then don't forget that we need to specify a value for the data parameter. Well, before doing that, first we make sure in the second step is to create a public workflow. So we pass regular data, right, to create a target flow and obtain a flow ID. Okay. Now in the third step, after we establish an access token and after we create the public workflow, now it's time to pass the data parameter. So again, use curl and send a post request to this time to the build public temp, because that's the handler that handles basically the pass of data to the endpoint or the workflow. So basically here, sending a post request to this API, okay, and then you specify here basically the data parameter. Data parameter you should contain your own Python code. Since this proof of concept is for the purpose of establishing RCE, a safe implementation or a safe code, just for demo purposes, is to basically pop open ID of the user and store the ID of the user in a file named temp RCE, and then you basically retrieve this file through another command to make sure that the exploit worked. That's basically a conceptual proof of concept, and I tested this proof of concept on the latest stable release 1.7.3. I have not tested this proof of concept on 1.8.1. Still, it is still vulnerable, right? But since the version 1.7.3 is the latest stable version of Langflow, it's basically the most reliable version if you want to reproduce the proof of concept. Okay. Now here's the thing. Last year, there was a similar vulnerability in Langflow that basically allowed RCE using a similar mechanism. Language flow versions prior to 1.3.0 are susceptible to code injection in the API v1 validate code endpoint. A remote and unauthenticated, similar to this one, attacker can send crafted requests to execute arbitrary code. Okay. This one was basically fixed when they added authentication to the endpoint, meaning only authenticated, authorized users can basically send requests to this API. And this way they fixed this vulnerability. However, in the current one, which we are talking about here, cannot be fixed only by adding authentication because this endpoint is intentionally public, right? It was designed to allow you to publicly create AI agents and workflow, okay? However, this API was not intentionally public. It was only for authorized users. So they fixed it by adding authentication. But this one, as long as it is public, anyone can basically send requests to create public workflows, and therefore anyone can pass arbitrary data or arbitrary code through the data. So the only fix from my point of view here is to add a way to, as I said earlier, to authenticate or to validate the code passed from the user to the exec function. So if you scroll down here, even if someone, the attacker did actually create public workflow, obtains a token, and sends a custom Python code to be executed, when this code is passed to the exec function in the validate.py, okay, it should be validated. If a validation occurs, or if a validation basically exists, the current proof of concept here will definitely fail, and therefore it can be fixed. Another way this can be fixed before an update is released is by removing the data parameter from here. So by making data equals to none in the public build temp, specifically saying here in the chat.py, okay, you basically remove the probability of anyone passing data from an unauthorized endpoint. That's one way to mitigate the issue, not permanently fix it. A permanent fix is an update from the vendor. So that was today's brief. I will see you later.